Observe, imitate, modify. That's how every brilliant DIY idea is born, by watching how light dances across leaves, how imagination takes flight in the most unexpected shapes. One glance at a glowing UFO bottle garden, and suddenly, you're not just in your backyard. You're somewhere far more magical. This idea draws on a love for fantasy and light, brought to life using humble materials. Use plastic bottles, a bit of wiring, and hydroponic nutrients. With their round flying saucer forms, these planters capture attention by day, but at night, they shine. Literally, the base of each bottle is fitted with an LED tea light or solar garden lamp. The upper dome, a clear plastic shell, holds a growing medium like cocoa peat or hydroton beads. Add mint, baby spinach, or leafy herbs, and suddenly each UFO seems to sprout live from the cosmos. No electricity? Try solar string lights coiled inside each base. Want a rainbow effect? Use translucent bottle caps in varying colors. This design invites experimentation, and that's the beauty of it. Beyond aesthetics, these UFO planters teach children about sustainable gardening and light, how the interplay between plant and source can echo the harmony of the stars. They're compact, easy to move, and perfect for evening patios or science-themed school gardens. Let your creativity orbit freely. Reuse bottles of different sizes. Paint subtle alien markings, or suspend them with invisible thread for floating illusions. These tiny galaxies aren't just functional planters. They're a conversation between wonder and waste, a bridge between ecology and enchantment. As night falls, watch your garden light up, not with electricity, but with imagination. Realistic garden scene with recycled plastic bottles transformed into panda planters, black and white faces smiling with mint leaves sprouting on top, warm daylight, and vibrant green background. Start by watching. A simple black dot for an eye, a painted white circle for face, and suddenly, an empty plastic bottle becomes a panda, quiet and serene. That's the soul of this creation, calm, kind, and caring. These panda-themed bottle planters turn trash into tenderness. Cut the bottle clean, paint its face with 2 gentle circles for eyes, a tiny black nose, and smiling lips. Add round ears with recycled foam or leftover plastic, and you've just created a friendly garden guardian, one who carries more than just herbs. It carries joy. Each bottle cradles a handful of water, a sponge or a net cup, and seeds of lettuce, mint, or pak choi. Over days, roots reach into the liquid, dancing quietly beneath the surface, while leaves bask in the sun. There's something meditative about watching them grow, like watching pandas peacefully nibble bamboo. Only here, it's your vegetables taking slow, deliberate sips of nourishment. These bottle pandas love structure. Set them on bamboo poles, wooden slats, or hang them in rows under a veranda. Their repetitive faces bring rhythm to your garden, and their cheerful expressions add personality. Children especially connect with them, naming each panda, checking their progress, and feeling pride when the first leaf unfurls. This design isn't just about cuteness. It's a clever introduction to hydroponics, ideal for schools, small homes, or balconies. With minimal tools, paint, bottles, and string, you open the door to science, creativity, and environmental consciousness. In their stillness, the pandas speak, that nature and nurture can bloom through play, that every little bottle can become something big when seen with a little imagination. Try 1 panda, then 2, then a grove. Let your recycled forest grow, 1 smile at a time. DIY garden scene featuring a long caterpillar planter made from reused bottles, googly eyes and rope antennas on the front, with leafy greens growing from each bottle segment, bright and playful garden atmosphere. Begin with the rhythm of childhood curiosity. Observe, copy, then dream beyond. That's the spirit behind this charming garden idea, where each recycled bottle becomes a crawling segment of a caterpillar, gentle and alive, inching its way across your backyard or balcony. This planter doesn't just hold herbs. It tells a story of transformation, of creativity, of sustainability shaped like a cheerful garden bug. Start by collecting identical plastic bottles. Paint them in gradients of green, maybe with a hint of yellow or brown to mimic nature's uneven tones. Line them up horizontally like the body of a caterpillar. Secure them with jute twine and leave the first bottle for the head. Here, Let your imagination roam. Wide googly eyes, a smiling red mouth, tiny rope antennas bouncing in the wind. Inside each bottle, herbs take root, parsley, thyme, basil, poking out like spiky caterpillar fuzz. As days go by, the caterpillar becomes greener, fuller, and more alive. It's a perfect centerpiece for outdoor school tables, family garden corners, or even community park displays. Children are drawn to its friendly shape, while adults admire the low-cost, high-impact execution. The horizontal layout makes it easier for kids to water, harvest, and observe plant growth at eye level. This isn't just a planter. It's a movable garden sculpture. You can carry it indoors during heavy rain or reposition it to catch more sun. It teaches balance between fun and function, between design and ecology. Let each bottle segment be a chapter in your journey toward greener living. With every herb you harvest, every smile the caterpillar earns, you remind yourself and others. The smallest steps, the softest creatures, can carry the biggest messages about change. Children standing in front of a hydroponic wall, made from reused bottles painted as playful characters, mint and spinach sprouting from their tops, sunny backyard with realistic lighting and no filters. Look, feel, adapt. That's the design journey this vertical garden invites. One that blends function with childhood charm. Turn a plain fence into a gallery of growing joy. Begin with simple, clear plastic bottles, each one waiting to become a character. Paint them boldly. Wide eyes, rosy cheeks, sleepy lids, toothy grins. Each face becomes a personality. And with a few cuts and strings, each personality becomes a planter. Mounted against a wood fence, balcony rail, or a schoolyard wall, the bottles become vertical cradles for greenery. Their mouths don't speak, but from their necks, life flows. Lettuce, basil, coriander, roots trailing down, leaves reaching up. The juxtaposition is magical. Cartoon whimsy paired with serious hydroponic growth. This project offers more than visual delight. It's a compact gardening solution, perfect for small urban spaces or classrooms with little ground to spare. The hydroponic system can be as simple as water and liquid nutrients, or as elaborate as wicking cords and drip trays. But its heart stays playful. Children are instantly drawn in. They name each face, water them lovingly, and wait for the day a green crown emerges. Adults appreciate the space-saving design, the creativity, and the message that joy and sustainability can grow together side by side. Add weatherproof sealant to keep the faces vibrant. Paint eyelashes, freckles, or even tiny speech bubbles. Let the wall evolve with the seasons, swapping plants as needed, updating expressions as moods shift. This wall does more than decorate. It communicates. It whispers of reuse, resilience, and a quiet revolution happening in the garden. And when someone passes by and smiles, you've planted something beyond a herb. You've planted a memory. Realistic image of colorful hanging planters made from cut plastic bottles shaped like happy faces, suspended with ropes over a home garden. Plants like mint or basil growing above the bottle heads. No filters or edits. Observe, replicate, reinvent. When design lifts off the ground and dances in the breeze, we begin to see new possibilities. Not just a space, but a spirit. This is the essence of the hanging bottle faces garden. Joy, suspended. Bottles once tossed away now swing gently, filled with laughter and leaves. To begin, select lightweight plastic bottles and cut them to form open containers at the base. Paint each one vividly. Sunshine yellow, ocean blue, cherry red. Add hand-drawn eyes, blushing cheeks, wide open grins, or sleepy half-lids. Suddenly, they become beings rather than bottles. Tie strong natural rope around their necks or sides, and hang them beneath a tree, along a porch, or from a bamboo beam. Inside, add soil or hydroponic sponge. Herbs like mint, lemongrass, or Vietnamese coriander flourish from the tops, giving each smiling face a wild green hairstyle that dances in the wind. This isn't just a garden. It's a conversation between human and nature, between fun and food, between who we were and who we could be if we saw waste differently. Children love it. They paint their own faces, give them names, and care for them like pets. Adults smile in surprise, then nod in admiration at the ingenuity. It's simple, low cost, therapeutic, As the bottles sway and the herbs grow, the garden takes on a rhythm of its own. It invites interaction, laughter, storytelling. And best of all, it teaches without preaching. That joy can be practical. That art can be edible. That reuse can be beautiful. When the breeze stirs their leafy hair and the sun kisses their cheeks, the faces seem to glow, not with LEDs, but with life. And isn't that the kind of garden we all want? DIY outdoor scenes showing multiple bird-shaped planters made from plastic bottles, complete with beaks, wings, and eyes, planted with mint and basil, surrounded by flowers under soft sunlight, realistic colors and shadows. Inspiration often flutters quietly. Watch closely how a bird lands on a fence, how sunlight glints off its wings, how it carries seeds in its beak. From there we begin. We observe. We recreate. We give flight to our imagination. Birdsong bottle planters are where nature meets nurture, literally. Plastic bottles are gently reborn as feathered friends. Their bodies painted in bold strokes, scarlet, canary yellow, peacock green. A triangle becomes a beak. 2 white dots form curious eyes. Side flaps transform into fluttering wings. Then, where feathers would be, mint or lemon basil grow, dancing like plumage in a breeze. Perched gracefully on old iron stands or vintage bird cages. Each planter becomes a character in a whimsical aviary. They don't chirp, but they speak. Of creativity, of reuse, of beauty not bought, but built with your own hands. This design invites more than admiration. It calls for storytelling. Children imagine names, backstories, and personalities for each bird. A pink one might be Mimi, the garden songstress. A green one, Paco, the herb-loving explorer. As the herbs grow, so do their tales. Technically, it's simple. Cut a window on the back of the bottle. Insert a sponge or hydroponic net pot. Feed it with water and light. Hang it, stand it, or cluster them like a flock beside the tomatoes. Lightweight and mobile, these birds can migrate across seasons, from kitchen corners to balcony shelves. There's something sacred about watching greenery grow from something you almost threw away, like seeing wings emerge from waste. These bird planters aren't just DIY pieces. They're little miracles perched in your garden. Let your garden sing, not just with petals and leaves, but with the flutter of joy. DIY planters set up using recycled bottles shaped as miniature homes, with soil and herbs growing from the roof area, arranged side by side like a tiny village garden, in a cozy indoor space with real-life lighting. Sometimes we build not just to grow, but to dream, to create homes not for people, but for plants. And in these tiny houses, carved from what we once called trash, lives a new kind of neighborhood, one where green onions become trees and plastic becomes possibility. This project begins with a bottle, any shape, any size. It only needs your vision. You trim the top, leaving room for soil and roots. Then with brushes or markers, you draw a window with blue curtains, a tiny red door, a brick chimney climbing toward the sun. Suddenly, it's not a bottle, it's a cottage. Add soil and tuck in seedlings, chives, green onions, maybe even thyme. As they grow, they rise like trees above these miniature homes, creating the illusion of a magical garden village. Place them side by side on a kitchen counter, balcony rail, or classroom window, and you just built a community. But beyond the charm, this is a lesson in scale and care. You don't need a field to grow. You don't need perfection. You need only love, light, and a little imagination. Each bottle house can reflect your mood. A yellow door on sunny days. A tiny mailbox for whimsy. You can personalize one for each family member. Mom's house with parsley. Aya's cabin with cilantro. Kids will naturally bond with them, watching roots grow below and leaves reach up, witnessing a full cycle of quiet life. This village of homes becomes more than decoration. It becomes a ritual, a space to tend every morning, a pause between breakfast and busy, a reminder that every home, no matter how small, can offer shelter to something living. Here, on your windowsill, sprouts a neighborhood of hope. Realistic garden photo of B-shaped bottle planters flying midair, suspended with string among trees and flowers. Plants sprouting from the top. Cheerful daylight scene with visible bottle details and soft shadows. Some gardens hum. not with machines, but with memories, ideas, and hope. That's the rhythm behind these buzzing bee bottle planters. A dance of yellow stripes, gentle wings, and small green miracles. Begin by reclaiming a bottle. One bound for a landfill. Wash it. Cut a window for planting. Then comes the transformation. With bold yellow paint and neat black stripes, the body of the bee appears. Add paper or plastic wings, curd from cut-off bottle scraps. Draw on joyful eyes, wide smiles, tiny antennae. Suddenly, you're no longer holding trash. You're holding flight. Into the back of the bee, place your plants, basil, thyme, or lemon balm. As they grow, they look like leafy wings or wild bee fur. And when the wind moves them, the illusion is magical. A tiny creature pollinating green from its back. Suspend them from trees, balcony poles, or pergola beams. Let them hover like a swarm of joy above your garden. Their lightweight frames swing gently in the breeze, bringing a sense of motion, of life, of playful presence. These bee planters aren't just cute. They teach. Children quickly understand the link between pollinators and plants. They see how every element of nature has a role, and how even a recycled bottle can become part of the cycle. Hang one, then another. Watch the buzz build. Paint each bee with its own expression, shy, sleepy, excited. The garden becomes a buzzing storybook. Each bee a page, each plant a poem. And when someone asks, "Why bees?" you'll smile, because they remind us that even the smallest things keep the garden alive. Let your garden buzz with kindness, with greenery, with wonder. Every great garden begins with a quiet beginning, a seed in the dark, a bottle left behind, a spark of intention. This is the story of the Bottle Cap Seedling Garden, a collection of beginnings, nurtured in clear plastic and colorful tops. Start with the basics. Transparent plastic bottles, cut, cleaned, inverted. Their narrow ends cradle a wick or sponge, gently touching water below. Soil or hydroponic pebbles rest above. A single seed, lettuce, chili, marjoram, nestles in. Then comes the cap. Each cap, once an afterthought, now becomes a lid of color. Blue, red, green, yellow. Not just decorative, they serve a gentle purpose, holding in humidity, guiding airflow, and crowning each bottle like a gem. Set these planters side by side on a wooden plank, a windowsill, or a small garden bench. The transparency of the bottle lets you witness every change. When the roots first reach for moisture, when the leaves stretch toward light. It's not just gardening, it's observation, reflection. Children are drawn to this project because of its simplicity. It's a hands-on biology lesson in miniature. Adults find beauty in the repetition. Row after row of bottles glowing softly in morning light. Life quietly awakening inside each one. And the best part? These seedlings are portable. You can move them to sunnier spots, gift them to neighbors, or transplant them into larger hydroponic systems. The journey doesn't end in the bottle. It begins there. This garden teaches that growth doesn't need grandeur, just attention, patience, and maybe a little color. So let your bottle cap shine. Let your windowsill become a nursery. Let each tiny shoot remind you, in the simplest things, the greatest potential grows. Every culture has its guardians, symbols of strength, wisdom, and transformation. In this garden, that guardian takes the shape of a dragon, not a fire, but of leaf and life, built not from scales, but from bottles reborn. This is a Dragon Parade garden, where recycled plastic bottles stretch end to end, forming the winding body of a mythical creature. Each bottle, a segment of the serpent, is painted in bold hues: emerald green, flame red, soft gold. Some wear painted scales, others boast tiny painted claws or wisps of smoky accents. Together, they don't just grow plants. They march, begin at the head. One bottle becomes a dragon's face, fierce or friendly, with wide eyes and sharp eyebrows. Rope or yarn becomes the whiskers. A curled tail flicks from the final bottle. And in between, life. Bok choy, basil, oregano, rising from the dragon's back like smoke from a magical spine. Each bottle is cut and arranged horizontally. The insides hold hydroponic media, or moist soil. The base connects loosely to the next, creating a flexible, movable garden chain that can hug a wall, trail across a garden bench, or snake through a classroom planter space. Children marvel at it. They count the segments. They guess what herb might be in the belly. And in that moment, sustainability becomes wonder, not just responsibility, but joy. This dragon doesn't breathe fire. It breathes oxygen. It turns waste into wealth and legends into learning tools. Place it in a community garden, a cultural festival, or your own backyard. Let it remind you, every bottle has the power to protect something. If we give the chance to grow wings, roots, or scales, this is not just a planter. It's a parade of purpose. Magic is often found in the smallest corners, under leaves, within petals, inside forgotten things. And when the imagination meets a plastic bottle, something truly enchanting happens. A fairy is born. This garden isn't just about plants. It's about presence, about believing that nature holds more than function. It holds stories, spirits, and sparkles you can't always see until you build them yourself. To begin, gather empty plastic bottles. Trim them to shape the base of a dress, a rounded body, or an upright figure. Paint soft eyes, rosy cheeks, and smiling lips. Use translucent plastic scraps or repurposed folders to form wings that catch the light just right. Secure them at the back, like whispers ready to flutter. Inside each fairy, plant small herbs or leafy greens, lettuce, mint, dill. The green growth becomes their hair, their crowns, or their magical capes. Nestled among garden flowers, these bottle fairies blend gently into the environment. Guardians of both charm and chlorophyll. Place them in groups, dancing around a flower pot, circling a tree base, or peeking from the edge of a windowsill. Kids adore naming them. Adults admire the cleverness, and passers-by, they often pause, smile, and remember something childlike. This project is an invitation to slow down, to care, to create. It turns recycling into ritual, gardening into art. And with every new sprout, you feel it. This isn't just green living. It's a fairy tale unfolding leaf by leaf. Water them softly. Speak to them, if you like. They listen. After all, they were born of forgotten plastic and loving hands. That's the kind of magic the world could always use more of. So plant a fairy, or plant 5. Let your garden tell stories that shimmer. In the city, space is a luxury, but with a little creativity and an empty bottle, even the smallest balcony can become a field of food. This is a quiet revolution of urban bottle lettuce rows, where freshness grows on walls and plastic turns into promise. The method is simple, elegant, and efficient. Take used plastic bottles. Identical ones work best for symmetry. Cut and invert them so the neck becomes a root channel. Fill them with hydroponic sponge, cocoa peat, or clay balls. Then, with a few drops of nutrient solution and a whisper of care, plant your lettuce seeds. Hang the bottles on wire grids or wooden frames, stacking them vertically. The result is a stunning pattern of green curls and leaves cascading down like nature's tapestry, alive, edible, and deeply satisfying. This setup is ideal for apartment dwellers, small patios, or school gardens with limited ground. It uses gravity to help with drainage, light from balconies to energize growth, and airflow to keep plant healthy. The magic lies in the transformation. Where there was once a blank wall, now there's rhythm, rows of romaine, patterns of pak choi, colors shifting from bottle blue to garden green. Each bottle becomes a mini biome. Roots stretch visibly, letting curious eyes watch the unseen come to life. It's educational, beautiful, and wonderfully low maintenance. With regular misting and weekly nutrient checks, this garden thrives with minimal input. And when you harvest your first handful of leaves for a sandwich or salad, the taste isn't just fresh, it's earned. Let your wall become a garden. Let your balcony feed you. Let every bottle remind you. Even in small places, great things can grow. Sometimes, it takes a giraffe with parsley on his head to remind us that nature can be fun. That's the soul of the Hanging Garden Bottle Zoo. A joyful collection of creatures, lovingly shaped from plastic waste and filled with life. This project turns your garden into an imaginative exhibit. Recycled plastic bottles become animal planters, each one a playful tribute to wildlife. Paint a lion with a leafy mane, a zebra with black stripes and sprouting basil, a monkey with eyes full of mischief, and a crown of mint. Using string or jute rope, Suspend them from a strong branch, a wooden beam, or schoolyard trellis. As they sway in the breeze, it feels like a little jungle come to life, each animal whispering stories to the wind and waving their green hair in rhythm with the sun. This idea isn't just cute, it's deeply connective. Children learn about biodiversity, ecosystems, and the responsibility of care. Adults find a new outlet for creativity, especially when space is tight or budgets are slim. Inside each bottle is a mini world, soil or hydroponic media, a few drops of water, and a stem reaching upward. Use herbs, small flowering plants, or even trailing vines. The animal form draws attention. The greenery holds it. Assembling the zoo can be a community effort. Families, classrooms, or neighborhood groups can each make an animal. 1 bottle becomes a giraffe. 10 bottles? A sanctuary. A garden that teaches, feeds, and uplifts. And maybe, just maybe, when someone looks at a smiling elephant with time in its ears, they'll see more than a planter. They'll see that imagination and earth care belong together. Some gardens don't just bloom, they cuddle. And in these Bear Hug Mint planters, you'll find more than herbs. You'll find warmth crafted from what was once forgotten. This project begins with kindness. A clear plastic bottle trimmed and softened into shape, painted soft white or pastel brown. Each bottle takes on a gentle form, round ears from cut plastic, tiny eyes from dots of black, and a little snout that makes it undeniably bear. A bear that smiles not with teeth, but with tenderness. Inside, plant mint. Let the green leaves rise like tousle hair from the top of the bear's head. Over time, as the mint thickens, the bear seems even more alive, like it's hugging a bit of nature in its arms. These planters feel at home anywhere: a kitchen counter, a school windowsill, a backyard shelf. They're not just functional, they're friendly. Children are drawn to them instinctively, eager to water, to name, to nurture. Adults, too, feel the calm, like tending to a small companion in the shape of a bottle. Arrange them in groups, a bear family, or place one as a comforting presence next to your favorite reading spot. Add labels if you like, or let them stay anonymous, silently offering mint leaves for your tea or meals. This design teaches that recycling can be gentle, not just clever. That craft can feel like care. That small hands and big hearts can make something useful and beautiful from what was nearly waste. Let the bears live among your plants. Let them hold green gifts. Let them remind you that love often grows best in the smallest, softest places. Sometimes, a garden needs more than soil. It needs stories. And in this whimsical creation, plants don't just grow. They land, hover, and light up your night like gentle visitors from the stars. The glowing UFO garden planters are part hydroponic system, part art installation. And yet, they're made from the simplest of things: plastic bottles, leftover lids, a few LEDs or solar lights, and a spark of imagination. Start by cutting your bottle in two. The top half becomes the dome, your cockpit of growth. The bottom, inverted and widened, becomes a saucer. Between them, build a space for hydroponic nutrients or moist cocoa peat, ready to host your passengers. Mint baby lettuce or tiny flowering herbs. Add LED tea lights or small solar bulbs beneath the base. At dusk, they flicker gently, casting a colorful glow through the plastic. Suddenly, your planters look like they've floated in from another world, bringing life instead of light years. Place them along a path, in a circle around a tree, or nestled in flower beds. Their glow draws the eye, but their practicality keeps the wonder grounded. They hydrate, they educate, and they illuminate, all at once. These glowing UFOs are favored among children, especially for themed gardens or nighttime events. But adults, too, find joy in their surreal beauty. They remind us that sustainability isn't just serious. It can be fun, dreamy, and a little fantastical. This is your chance to turn recycling into spectacle. Let your bottles take off. Let your garden shimmer under the stars. And as your herbs grow beneath those domes, remember, sometimes the most down-to-earth ideas come from out of this world. There's something magical about walking through a tunnel covered in green. It feels like stepping through a threshold, not just a space, but a thought. A quiet celebration of nature, reuse, and design in harmony. The bottle tunnel garden arch is a grander gesture, made from dozens, sometimes hundreds, of plastic bottles. It transforms an ordinary garden path into a sculptural passage filled with growth and light. The process begins with structure. A curved frame made from bamboo, PVC pipe, or metal wire. Sturdy enough to carry weight, but light enough to install by hand. Then come the bottles. Cut, painted as desired, and planted with herbs, flowers, or vines. Each bottle is tied securely to the frame, its roots hidden and leaves reaching outward like arms opening wide. As the tunnel takes shape, so does its character. Mint wafts a cool scent with every breeze. Marigold petals peek through the green. Bean tendrils climb upward, wrapping around the arch like dancers clinging to rhythm. The light filters through colored plastics, casting playful patterns on the ground below. This garden arch isn't just a visual statement. It's a deeply practical space. It shades the soil beneath. It uses vertical space wisely, and it invites interaction. Children run through it. Couples walk slowly, hands grazing leaves. It becomes a moment in the garden, not just a part of it. Use it as a gate, a walkway, or even the entrance to a community farm. Let it welcome visitors with color, texture, and purpose. Because here, waste becomes wonder. Bottles become bridges. And as you walk beneath the greenery, you don't just admire the garden, you become part of it. Sometimes a garden isn't rows or lines. It's a community. A tiny village where every bottle is a house, every plant a resident, and every window still a street of quiet, growing lives. The Bottle Village Hydroponic Terrace brings scale and soul to the smallest spaces. It's not just a way to grow, it's a way to belong. Start with what you already have, a wooden rack, a small table, or a corner of your balcony. Build upward. Stack crates, shelves, or reuse boxes to form levels, your terraces. Then the magic begins. Plastic bottles become homes. Each one is painted lovingly. Red roofs, blue windows, brick details, tiny shutters. Some houses lean slightly. Some are bold and bright. They reflect your neighborhood, your memories, or the one you dream of. Cut the bottles to hold water or hydroponic media. Insert a wick or sponge. Add basil, pak choi, or lettuce. As the green spills out like roof gardens in bloom, the village comes alive. From above, it looks like a hillside town. From the side, a skyline of soft sustainability. The plants purify your air, while the designs brighten your view. Children love to help, naming each house, making up stories for the residents. It becomes a family ritual. Adults find calm in the rhythm. Tend, trim, admire. Water travels down tier by tier, feeding each level like rain falling across a valley. This is more than gardening. It's storytelling. It's stewardship. It's art that lives. And when visitors stop, smile, and ask, who lives in these tiny houses? You can say, Hope does, and Mint, and Morning Light. Walls often divide, but sometimes they greet, and in this blooming mural of smiling wall bottles, the fence becomes a gallery of joy, a vertical garden where each plant grows from a painted face, each expression a hello from the earth. Begin with a long fence, wall, or wooden board. Sand it if needed, prime it for color. Then gather your bottles, cut neatly across the top or middle. Clean, dry, and then comes the delight. Paint the bottles into characters, silly, shy, sleepy, excited. Add eyelashes, freckles, eyebrows raised in surprise. The diversity of faces makes the wall come alive. No two bottles look the same, just like no two plants grow exactly the same. Mount the bottles using nails, wire, or metal loops. Tilt them slightly outward so they hold soil or hydroponic media. Add water. Place your seedlings, leaf lettuce, mint, or even strawberry sprouts. Soon, the garden becomes a crowd of personalities, each one wearing their greenery like wild, growing hair. Children gravitate to this wall. They stop to admire their favorite face, track the progress of Benny the basil or Lila the lettuce. Teachers use it to introduce recycling and biology in one breath. Neighbors stop and smile, even if they weren't planning to. This setup is more than art. It's functionality layered over emotion. It cools the wall, filters the air, and feeds you back with freshness. The wall no longer holds boundaries. It holds stories. You'll find yourself drawn to it each morning, not just to water, but to say hello. Because somewhere between plastic and paint, this wall began to speak, and it hasn't stopped blooming since. Some gardens grow vegetables. Others grow imagination. In the recycled bottle fantasy garden, you don't plant in rows. You plant in stories. Each bottle becomes a character. Each planter, a chapter. Together, they form a landscape where frogs smile beneath lavender, UFOs blink softly by dusk, and fairies whisper among mint leaves. This garden is for those who dream with their hands. Start by choosing your cast. Maybe a panda with a hydroponic belly, a bee bottle buzzing with basil, a house bottle with thyme growing from its chimney, maybe a glowing UFO with pink sprouts under a dome. Build each one with care, using paint, glue, string, and salvage materials. The more variety, the better. Then arrange them, not in lines, but in clusters, corners, circles. Hide the dragon behind a rock. Let a fairy float beside a tomato. Add pebbled paths between them. Drape fairy lights through the branches above. Soon, your backyard or balcony becomes something more, a world. Children will visit and never want to leave. Adults will pause longer than they planned. Every guest will find a favorite bottle to point at and smile. Some will kneel to smell the rosemary growing from a frog's back. Some will ask how you did it. You'll tell them it started with trash and a little tenderness. This fantasy garden reminds us that beauty doesn't have to be serious. That function can be fantastical, and that the best gardens aren't always neat. They're alive with surprise. So let your garden be a fable. Let every bottle be a protagonist. And let green things tell stories, one leaf at a time. Gardens don't always stay still. Some spin with joy, some twirl with invention. And in the bottle Ferris wheel garden, we find both. A playful structure where plants ride through sunlight like passengers in a carnival of care. This project is part sculpture, part vertical garden. At its heart is a simple wheel, built from a bicycle frame, wood, or repurposed iron spokes. Around its edge, hang plastic bottles sliced open and reinforced. Each one becomes a seat, not for children but for seeds. Fill them with soil or hydroponic beads. Plant spinach, chives, or chili sprouts. As the wheel turns slowly, by wind, by hand, or by pulley, the bottles get even sun and air. They rise, they fall, they grow. Paint each bottle brightly, orange, teal, lime green. Add cartoon faces or numbers. The garden begins to look like a joyful machine, a reminder that sustainability can be delightful, not just dutiful. Set it in a school garden where children can turn the wheel and check their riders. Or place it in your backyard as a centerpiece, spinning softly in the breeze while herbs dance along. It becomes kinetic art. It becomes a vertical farm. It becomes a reason to gather. This design teaches rotation, renewal, and rhythm. It conserves space while maximizing impact. And it transforms a single idea, what if a Ferris wheel grew food, into something real, useful, and uplifting. Because in this wheel, no one's left behind. Every bottle has a seat. Every leaf has a ride. And every turn brings more life. Let it spin. Let it grow. Let your garden remind the world that joy and function can move in circles together.